Well, good morning. It's really a pleasure to be here in Krakow. It's my first time in Krakow. It's my first time in Poland, so far so good. For me to be here and to address a speech in the Open Eyes Economy Summit on this important topical issue of the future of work, it's a responsibility, because I have to admit, people sometimes look at those members that work in Brussels as someone that live in a bubble and live in a dream. Well, I'm real. I'm a real person. I've got a job. I've got a family. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to present you a little bit of the European Economic and Social Committee, the views of the committee around this subject, but also my view, because like I said, I've got a life, I've got to work, I work for the industry, and I think it's important to address such an interesting audience the view of someone that is like you. And of course, it's a really responsibility to speak before Elżbieta Bieńkowska, your commissioner. But I'll do my best in order to give you some ideas. Well, there is no doubt the world is changing a lot. You heard the conversations yesterday about the automation, robots, artificial intelligence, all those words in this Industry 4.0. The world is changing a lot, and that's true. But we must see it as an opportunity. At least I want to see it as an opportunity to change our mindsets and to prepare ourselves to a better living to everybody. Well, I'm here representing the European Economic and Social Committee. It's an incredible building in Brussels. Most of you probably don't know what is the European Economic and Social Committee. My first warning is we are not politicians. The European Economic and Social Committee is a consultative body that represents the organized civil society. We exist since the Treaty of Rome. We are a consultative body of the European Union in order to represent the organized civil society. But what is that, the organized civil society? It's, like I said, people on the ground, people like me, people that represent employers. I represent an employers association coming from Portugal, industrial side, people that represent workers and that represent several interests, farmers, consumers, NGOs, liberal professions, and so on. So we want to think that this is the reality of the society, people from different perspectives with different backgrounds that want to defend the interests of the citizens and their convictions about human rights, about children's rights, environment, poverty, fight against racism and discrimination, but also internal market, growth, industry, jobs, all the issues that are related with everybody's lives. So we represent the society. We want to represent the society. Like I said, we are not politicians. We are appointed by organizations from the field. What do? We, the Parliament and the Council of the European Union and the European Commission are legally obliged to consult the committee when passing new laws on a wide range of topics. So we are consulted in order to give our opinion and to advise, as we represent the society, to advise those European bodies. This is important because we can not only do something about the policy-making process, but we also adopt own initiative opinions about topics that we feel that are important and at a specific moment are not addressed by the Commission. So, I'm not going to spend too much about this. We have a working method. We want to make our opinion valid to the Commission and to the European Parliament. We want the voice of the citizens to be heard in Brussels and around Europe to have a better Europe for all. So we have a lot of work. We are divided on groups and sections, on economy, on external relations, sustainability, society, internal market, energy, you name it. So all the subjects that are related with our daily life. So we are 350 members from all member states, not paid, unfortunately, but then again I've got a life back home, and we are not fully based in Brussels, which is good because everybody knows the weather in Brussels is not that good. So the groups, we have employers groups, workers groups in several interests, and the aim is to have consensus about some opinions. So, what we have today, the future of work. EU governance is needed or flexibility should allowed. What is the European Economic Committee view, opinion? Well, the thing is, there are a lot of bias about work, about professionals, about the future of work, a lot of discussions, a lot of views. Let me start by showing you Dilbert's mother's view. Can I have this? Oops. How can I put the...
I'm worried about little Dilbert. He's not like other kids.
What do you mean?
Yesterday, I left him alone for a minute, and he disassembled the TV, our clock, and the stereo.
That's perfectly normal. Kids take things apart.
Oh! The part that worries me is he used the components to build a ham radio set.
Oh dear.
Is that bad?
Normally I'd want to run an EEG on him, but the machine isn't working. It's worse than I feared.
What is it?
I'm afraid your son has the knack.
The knack?
The knack. It's a rare condition characterized by an extreme intuition about all things mechanical and electrical, and utter social ineptitude.
Can he lead a normal life?
No. He'll be an engineer. There.
Well, you know, I'm not an engineer, but I could be. I'm a business person, but this shows that there are a lot, just to make a little bit fun, but this shows that there are still images that we have about professions, and engineers is no doubt one of the professions that the mothers normally don't like kids to go, at least Dilbert's mother. But my point is with this, is to show you that there are a lot of opportunities on the ground, and there are a lot of professionals, even professions that we don't know that will exist in 10 years, that we cannot be afraid of. But it's the reality, and the reality shows that the future of work is it's not easy. The committee, the European Economic and Social Committee, has been working in several opinions to address several questions like the Europe's social dimension of the work, the social pillar that we are going to discuss in Gothenburg this week in a very important summit. The new forms of employment, relationships and skills, new forms of work, the role of social partners and civil society organizations in new forms of work, completing the EMU, the political pillar related with the governance of the work. So there are a lot of issues, and there is a lot of work that has been doing by people like me and you, or at least that feel that we represent you, that is related with the future of work. A lot of analysis, a lot of data, a lot of ideas in order to address the challenges. So, is there anything like one single solution that can fit all the problems and all the challenges? I don't think so. Well, the main conclusions, and sorry for this, so many words on this slide. Some of them are quite obvious. We need some consensus on in which areas the European Union should act or not regarding the governance of the labour and the workforce. We need some reforms and political initiatives to be pursued to address the challenges. The challenges were there yesterday in the panels. We have to analyze the impact of digitalization on the world of work. There is no doubt that the robotization, digitalization, it's progress, but it's also something that will come with some fear, because people will react. People normally react to innovation and to change. So it's perfectly normal that people on the ground working in a factory are afraid of robots. This robot is going to kill my job. But is this true? Is this completely true? Or the robot is going to do some kind of work that is no longer needed, and will prepare this workforce to another challenge, to another capability. It's a kind of perspective that we need to address, and we need to address without fear. So I have no doubt, and this is my personal opinion, that the social partners have a critical role on this. It's important that the workers and the trade unions, the employers and the trade unions work together in order to solve those problems and to address these questions with no fear. Because in my next slide, I will say 50% in the next 10 years, 50% of the current jobs will disappear. I don't know if it's 50%, but some studies say 60. Yesterday I was told that someone said 55. I don't know the percentage, but the truth is this is changing, and we need to do something about not to losing the boat. And how can we do that? To facilitate transitions by enhancing new skills and ensuring social protection. The future skills needed to match societal changes and demands of labor market for improved long life learning and better education. It's true. I have to have long life learning and better education still in my age, because this is changing and I need to adapt. Not easy, but it's something that must be addressed by all the governments of the member states in order to create better conditions for all. And of course, we cannot forget the sustainable social security systems and social protections in the digital area. And this is something that the committee is still working on. So I don't want to give you any kind of lessons, but because this is just reflections and tips that we are using to address those questions in order to help the Commission and the European Parliament to address these challenges and to give new ideas and to help the citizens of the European Union. Not to interfere in each one's government, but to help them. And of course, to have high standards, European high standards. We cannot blame on Brussels on every time something's wrong. We have to do our job, and we have to see Brussels as an opportunity. You have to see the European Union as an opportunity to growth and to create jobs for all. Just a private information. I work for the Portuguese metallurgical and metal mechanics sector. It's a very diverse sector. I work for metallurgy, machinery and equipment, metallic furniture, industrial subcontracting, you name it. So it's a very diverse. And of course we have to address all the challenges regarding the use of robots in our process. But we represent 30% of the manufacturer exports. So what I'm talking about is an industry that is facing all these challenges that you have been talking to yesterday and today. Industry 4.0, digitalization, robotization, startups that are creating better services to improve the industry. This is good. This is, if we see these opportunities, this is something that we need to use. Technology is to serve mankind, not to create problems. So don't look at me as a very optimistic or naive person. But the truth is, the reality today, 50%, like I said, of the current posts will disappear. New positions will appear. We don't know if they are enough to cover those 50% that they will disappear. But there is something that we need to address. New skills are needed with more research and development in innovation activities. Circular economy, it's something, another buzzword that you listen all the time, and sustainable development goals is on the agenda. People like you changed your consumer habits every day. You are no longer, you are sharing services, you are not buying a copy machine, a paper copy machine, you are renting the copy machine. People in the future will not buy cars, they will rent as the service. They will not probably buy tires, they will rent the kilometers of use of those tires. So yes, it's a changing world, and we need to adapt, but we can't forget that we need jobs and we need growth. So it's quite a mumbo-jumbo sentence, a balance between economic growth and sustainability. It's true, it's quite obvious. So the way we address this is the key to anticipate and to address the challenges. So we need to anticipate solutions with a good training system, with a good education system, not to cut the spending budget in each member state for education. Education will be key. But there will be new positions that we need to, one of the positions that we talk about in the metallurgical Portuguese industry is the robot advisor. Who is going to be this? Might be a very interesting challenge, and I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting wage for these people who will work as an advisor of the robot. So we have to value all positions, all professions with new service and new solutions. Those startups, the ecosystem, the innovation ecosystem that we are creating in Europe might lead to good solutions on this area. Of course, there is also a figure, 95% of the startups that are created die. This hurts. But the truth is the other 5% will prevail and will create more jobs and will create more services that will facilitate our lives. And we need to have the correct balance between create the conditions to startups, to growth, and to address good services for the industry, for the manufacturing. Long life training and learning language skills, this is something that will always prevail. No matter artificial intelligence we have in developments on the artificial intelligence, language skills is no doubt one of the best assets that people can have in this globalized world. So, this is my last two slides. Of course, a little bit of publicity, because Portugal has so many good relationships with Poland. We have so many economic links in services, in industry. One of my colleagues is also opening several industries in Poland on the metallurgical sector. So we have a very good relationship for years, and this is something that it's an honor to be here because of that. In conclusion, we cannot solve all the problems, especially in Brussels. But there is no doubt that the working conditions, the challenges that we are addressing, we are facing in this seminar, for example, are a good way to meet the challenges and to create solutions. Like I said, we cannot think that Brussels will solve our problems. Sometimes people think that Brussels is there to create some of the problems. I don't agree with that. I think that the European Union is the best peace project of the world. It's one of the best projects for growth and for peace and for stability, and member states must be aware of this. So we have to obviously work together. We have to be strong and to face the challenges and to be brave, because there is no one solution that can fit all, but definitely there are best practices that can be shared in each member state, that can be used and applied in each member state. Portugal, for example, small country. Poland, for example, a big country with big industry. We have to learn from each other if we want to address these challenges of the future of work, if we want to create more jobs, if we want to be a robot advisor with success, and if we want to create jobs for the new era and for our children to get a better world and a better Europe. Thank you for having me here. It will be a pleasure also to attend the conversation in a few minutes. Have a nice day.